This is Near Enough to Hell, a Ghost of El Paso story, part 19. It's been a few months since we've last played, and we're finally back. So we did a lot of recapping and discussion off recording just to make sure that everyone was up to speed and we all understood where we were, what had happened, and what is coming up next. So we're not going to recap too much here because for those who are just listening or watching this, it is extremely easy for you to just go back to the previous one and remind yourself. So we will touch on the state of our hunters. And just in brief, we left off going into the end of the dusk phase to set up our upcoming night phase. We had just theorized the solution to the Ghost Riders of Sawtooth Ridge and determined that Jimmy Pike has been hiding out currently. He's been moving around a lot, but he is currently in the attic of the Golden Spur Saloon. So that might be resolved tonight. We shall see. We also got a stinger scene where we saw that the previously established fifth ranger, who was thought dead but actually was still alive, appeared before the masterminds offering his services, and his name was Zechariah Waitley. If you know, you know. So let's look at the state of our hunters, and then we're going to just kick things off by wrapping up this dusk phase and going straight into the night. So Mother Ruth Calvo is most beloved, but otherwise has no conditions, although starting to get a little sparse on masks to use. Graves has death touch as always, but also the fucking an omen of the Vrykalakas condition, which was taken from when you encountered a photograph that you knew was taken by an artifact, an object of power that should not be in this part of the world, and it echoed across time for you. Diamond Dave McMahan has the condition on my best behavior. He is kind of been under scrutiny, so we're seeing how that plays out. And then Marshal Andrew Harrington has no conditions, is still probably the worst person in El Paso, but otherwise is killing it. Now, we did previously see his main move in play that you had called an assemblage, but that was that for tonight?
I
Because the blue boy is on the slate, but I don't remember if we introduced the blue boy last time, and or this like the day before that. I don't recall that bit from the recap because I know that you've used. Looking at your move here, it says it's been utilized, but I don't recall if you called an assemblage because I don't think you
Did
did for
we?
this upcoming night phase because we didn't
no,
establish actions, so therefore you wouldn't have stated that. I think.
But I think we
no,
did it at the Red Rock, and then because I said we're not doing that again.
Right, because there was the
yeah,
shootout. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. That is right.
yeah,
Because you couldn't do it in
we'll try
until.
Mother Calvo's church next time.
yeah. So it was more or less of like trying to find clues for the ghosts of the riders of Sawtooth Ridge by getting everybody in one
That's right.
spot.
Yep. And that
So
already happened. We already saw that a couple sessions
yeah,
ago. Gotcha.
yeah,
We're all good there.
yeah.
So
It was more or less that we have not been really covering the Blue Boy.
yes, that's very true. All right. So that's the state of our hunters. Um, Graves is also is getting a little is skinny unmasked. Dave's got plenty to spare, and Marshall is relatively okay. Still got some wiggle room there. But
I'm like 4 compared to like Ruth's 3.
yeah, exactly. So I don't believe we had any outstanding Janice Mass prompts. I could
Uh,
be wrong.
Actually, we
Oh,
do.
we do. Thank you,
Uh,
Chaotic, for knowing the game better than I do.
because I have the smarts to comment on threat masks when we owe them.
Oh, very
Uh,
good.
so the Mask of Revenge, each hunter describes a time when they meted out their own justice. I think I'm the only one that owes it, though.
Okay, gotcha. So you can hold on. You can do that whenever appropriate.
Mhm.
But for now, let's go ahead and figure out what this night phase is going to look like and hear y'all's plans. Mother Ruth, what do you intend for your night phase to be?
Wes, you're muted.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was thinking to myself, I know. God. I guess we're destroying these Ghost Riders, right? Okay, I'll be there for religious support. I'll go ahead and probably set up something. I think it would probably be the best to probably the Shields homestead, like Annette's. Like I've kind of been ingratiated in Annette's. I've been staying at Annette's, quote unquote. So kind of using that as like a let me just go ahead and drop random people on Annette's front doorstep and being like, Annette, we're here to solve things. And they'll be like, I love them, I
Okay.
love them. And then we'll shoot
Um,
Annette.
Graves, what about you?
I think I am back in town, definitely, from the mine thing, right?
You are.
Yes. And so I'm gonna help with the Ghost Riders,
Okay.
obviously. This is like my bag. I
Dave?
gotta send these guys back.
Yeah, I was my plan for that is to it sounds like is to go get to go get the guy as bait. And it looks like take him to the Shields residence, and then we'll use him as bait. I think that's the plan. So I can go get the guy.
Okay. And Harrington?
Jimmy Pike.
Mm, Well, there's things to be organized with this plan to make sure that we don't kill Jimmy Pike by accident. So I'm mainly here just to make sure that these hooligans stay on track.
So you're part of the plan as well. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's all in on the Ghost Riders tonight. Very good. All right, let's talk about the unseen. Tonight's unseen is Rain in the Mojave, which I'll introduce here just in a second anyway when we go into the unseen. But the first prompt will be for Daniel, the second for Chaotic, the third for Wes, and the last for B. Take a moment just to glance at your prompts, especially you, Daniel, since you're the first one. And we'll introduce that here in a second as I'm taking this moment to ruminate and think about this upcoming night phase and the actions that will be undertaken and who will die and who will live and other such delights. So with that said, we're moving into the night phase. Rain in the Mojave. The sun finally goes down after a long day, punishing the 20 million acres of the Mojave Desert and all its residents. Native life includes creatures as large as bighorn sheep, as small as burrowing owls and hairy scorpions, as usual and as unusual as Gila monsters. Just as the sun sets, an unlikely rain cloud forms, spared from its scorching rays. The rain cloud grows close to bursting with life-giving water. Daniel, Joshua trees can survive even in long droughts, but the withered grasses and flowers need this rain if they are to survive and germinate. If it rains, what about the landscape will transform and be beautiful enough to inspire a song?
The milkweed needs this water more than anything, and as soon as they have it, and they start to come back from the dried husk that they were, they start attracting fireflies and lightning bugs who drink the sap of the milkweed. And as soon as they get there, and as night falls, it's steamy from the rain on the hot desert, but the lightning bugs in their pulsing green lights looks like a glowing green fog across the desert landscape.
Back in El Paso, we see the Shields homestead out on the edge of town. Ruth Calvo, you're walking towards it. Is Graves and Marshal Harrington present as well with Ruth? Or are you elsewhere for this part of at the first step of things?
I think I'm with Ruth at the very least.
Graves, you are?
Yeah, I think I'm with Ruth until we get dispatched elsewhere for this.
Mm-hmm. The three of you are approaching the Shields homestead. Looking off into the distance where the Ghost Riders have kept their camp, on her homestead this time. There is no fire. It stands empty. The Ghost Riders are not here. They're somewhere else. But I guess that doesn't really matter for your plans. The point is to get them here, one way or another. Ruth, as you approach the front porch of the Shields homestead, what tells you that there's something wrong?
Annette usually keeps the windows open so she can hear the camp. So she can hear the conversations and the stirring, the noise. It feels like people are living in the house and everything. It feels like there's stuff happening. The windows are closed in the house.
What do you do?
Calvo stops. Mother Calvo stops. There's something off. There's no way for sound to be getting into the house. Somebody's closed it up. It's typically open. Someone's waiting.
B, your voice hasn't been coming through your mic, just so you know. I think it's
Love it.
needs
Love
to be closer.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You just speak into the microphone just like this.
I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
He speaks. He turns his head away from the mic when he breathes.
There is a sound from within the house, a rattle, a clatter, and the notable sound of a stifled woman's scream.
Rushing in.
Oh yeah.
Diamond Dave.
Wait, what? Wait.
Are y'all rushing to the front door? Are y'all rushing into the front door?
Whatever door's closest, I imagine,
Should be
right?
the front door, I would imagine. Yeah.
Mother Calvo is going to slowly start walking around towards the back.
Okay. Gotcha.
Guns
Diamond
blazing.
Dave. We see you approaching a much different establishment entirely, which is the Golden Spur Gambling Saloon. Now, when's the last time you visited some of the other businesses of El Paso, such as this? And are you welcome there?
Oh yeah, I have an association of of bartenders and saloon owners because we're getting ready for the big boom, and so we're all making plans and dividing up the area around El Paso for development. So yeah, he talks with he's got connections. He's not he wants everybody to have a fair share.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's going with Alan McDowell, his muscle, to get to Jimmy.
Gotcha. As you enter the Golden Spur, which is, as a refresher, a small, semi-private gambling den that serves more exclusive clientele than other gambling saloons. We last saw this place during the events of the Daisy Man. This was the place that the Daisy Man robbed that kicked off the whole scenario. Though you necessarily couldn't tell anymore since things have gone back to normal. It is stuffed full of its usual clientele, and the bar is busy serving its expensive liquors. People are playing a few cards, always high stakes. The new security man gives you a nod out as you approach from out front, though he does give his eyes to your muscle. But I think you're of well enough standing in the town that you're not going to get necessarily harassed. And you look up to see the ceiling of the main room. You could see the building from the outside when you were approaching. This Jimmy Pike fellow should be here. What do you do?
I think to be on the up and up. Whoever the owner is, or the whoever's in charge, the manager, the security, whoever's in charge, I think on the up and up, Diamond Dave is going to say, "You heard what happened at the Red Rock at the last assemblage with those Ghost Riders from Sawtooth Ridge. Well, you're going to get hit next. if we don't get Jimmy Pike out of your attic and get him out of town. No establishment is going to be safe with him hiding out in it. How do I know? Part of the Vigilance Committee. So
I think the owner,
we're all in this together.
the owner's eyes are on you, nodding, focusing, and there's a moment where you watch his eyes slide off of you and look over your shoulder as you're talking. And as you're saying we're all in this together, you watch his eyebrows like go up slightly, eyes widen, and then you hear a gunshot go off. Let's go back to the unseen. Chaotic. The prospect of rain rouses all living things, even in the dead of night. What does it look like when a pair of unlikely creatures find themselves within a few feet of each other, anticipating the rain?
The humble field mouse crawls out of its burrow, smelling the humidity on the air, cleaning its whiskers very fervently. And beneath the sand, shifting from its hiding spot, a rattlesnake slithers upwards, blinking slowly in the dark of night, waiting for water to hydrate its scales so it can finally shed its skin after waiting for a very, very long time for this rain. Just because food is nearby, it doesn't need to waste energy on that right now. It needs to focus on maintaining its health, maintaining more waiting.
Harrington and Graves, you rush in through the front door of Annette's home, following the sounds of the struggle. Upstairs on the second floor landing, you see the source of the sound. Annette herself, in her nightgown, hair disheveled, looking like she was probably ripped right out of bed, is struggling in the grips of one of the ghosts of Sawtooth Ridge. Has his like ranger knife out into her throat, green vapor almost roiling off of the top step as it oozes from his bullet wounds as he is wrestling with her, knife to her throat and growling. This is Thomas Lubbock, by the way, being like, "Where you hiding, Jimmy Park, you fucking whore? Tell me where the fuck he is!" And she is in clear distress. But as you come rushing up, Lubbock's eyes flick to you two. What do you do?
Thomas Lubbock put down the knife. This is not the person you are hunting, nor do you have any rights to hunt anyone anymore. You have been stripped of your titles, your authority. Come peacefully, and justice will be served.
Now, see, Lubbock looks at you. And though when he looks at you, you can see it in his eyes, the way that these ghostwriters have always looked at anyone, which is with a great cloud over their vision, a great haze of confusion, where he sees you, doesn't really see you, and his mind is muddled and swimming. And you can see that your words are like moving through a soup to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have you trigger the night phase here.
Night move.
Night move, not Jesus. Yeah, night move. Thank you. I'm gonna have you trigger that. I don't know. We're gonna start the night phase all over again. Trigger the night move. This will be with presence. What are you afraid of happening here if your words don't reach him?
He's just gonna stab this woman, this Anita Shields.
Oh yeah, I mean it's worse than that. He's gonna slit her throat and escape out into the night, like run and run out into the open, complicating your plans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that set up, Do you want to back down or go through with it?
I will go through with it.
All right. Give us a roll with presence.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use anything for my personal quarters because my presence is very good. 11.
11. Okay. We'll get back to that. Ruth, you can hear the muffled sounds of voices, the distinct report of boots on the stairs as Harrington and Graves rush inside to see what the source of the noise is. But you distinctly said you were walking around to the back and doing so relatively slowly. As you get around to the back and enter the house, what's going through your head?
Ruth's been kind of shaken since, Clear Springs and everything like that. Not Good Springs. This isn't New Vegas. Clear Springs and just kind of like everything that's happened there. On top of everything, it's just been very, very eventful. And I think Mother Ruth is truly it's just aware of like how much time is passing and how much these things it's just that elderly person thing of just becoming super hyper aware of time. um and is in a moment, I think, with the amount of mass that she has pulled, seeing Annette has been kind of like, is this a distraction or something? Is there something happening that we're not seeing in the back of the house or in a different part of the property or anything like that? Or is this tried and true, just ghosts being ghosts, that kind of thing? So I think she's trying to like suss out and see like what's underneath this? What is this? What is the cause to this effect? Because what's happening right here in this homestead, whatever's happening inside, she can hear that muffled sound. This is an effect, not a cause, and she's trying to find the cause, that kind of thing.
Mm,
Hmm.
I like that a lot. You know what I think would be very interesting, Ruth
Hmm.
Calvo, is that
Hmm.
even though we are in the process of having unlocked all the questions and are resolving this, I think I might still ask you to roll the information move because I like the implication that, in looking for answers on one thing, you might stumble into something else entirely. And I think the overlapping of threats it speaks to an interesting narrative, even if you're not necessarily
Hmm.
looking for clues for the blue boy or grieving or the grieving town. Um,
Hmm.
I will just tell you right now that if that doesn't interest you, I will still give you some general information regarding what you've been looking around for. I'm going to tell you that regardless, but I think that could be an interesting narrative result if you're down to let the dice roll.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
Cool.
a lot.
Then you can
Okay.
roll with reason.
Reason. All right. +1. That's pretty good. Nice, nice. I bet that's pretty good. I'm not gonna use that switchblade crucifix. I think that's my ace in the hole. That's
Mhm.
my one last bullet. Um, Perfect. Okay. Okay. It's not awful. It's a 7.
Okay,
I almost thought it was awful. If it wasn't for the +1, it would have been awful. So yeah,
gotcha.
7.
We'll come back to that. But back in El Paso, Dave, the gunshot goes off, causing many startled gasps and screams from the clients of the saloon. And spinning around, having entered the saloon, within like a minute of you entering, you see Rip Ford, one of the other Ghost Riders, the green vapor roiling around him like a shroud of hate, and his gun is raised up in the air, fired a shot into the ceiling, cocking his head around, twitching slightly as he scans the crowd for faces. The way that he scowls, the way that he twitches, it's almost like he's seeing Jimmy Pike in all of them. But his eyes then settle on you, and there is a terrifying clarity to them for a moment as he levels the gun in your directions and has pulled the hammer back and says, "I knew that if I followed you, you'd find Jimmy Pike." What do you do?
Well, I'm pointing up to the attic, but as I'm pointing up to the attic, my other hand is reaching behind my jacket to get a pistol. But I'm pointing up in the attic. I said, "He's up in the attic. Let's go get him." And then if he looks away, I'm gonna shoot him.
Ooh. All right, let's trigger the night move for Diamond Dave. This will be with composure. Um, and I'm debating, and I'm open to discussion on this. Would the condition on my best behavior impact this roll? And I'm trying to think of how it could, because I feel like there is or is not a good answer for that. And I'm not entirely certain. So I'm deferring to the group for ideas on that one. Would that give disadvantage or not?
I would say it it really depends on the stat. Since it is with composure, I would say it is with disadvantage. But however, if it was more with sensitivity, I would say it wouldn't. Because like the composure roll, it suggests that it's being perceived by not only supernatural hands but also mundane hands. So
I like the idea. Actually, this is actually a really good one where it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily from the ghost perspective as well. It could just be from like even people like your muscle or even the bartender, where it's like if they saw you trying to pull something, they might be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and they
Yeah,
don't
I like that.
think
I like
think
that.
you're capable of it because you
I
know
like
like they you've been on your best behavior. And they might draw attention to it. I like that a lot. So it'll be with composure disadvantage. What are you afraid of happening here though?
I think I'm afraid that the gun that I have with someone else's name on it, and I know whose name it is, won't work against a ghost.
Oh, well, it's worse than that. In this quick draw situation, you're gonna end up with a bullet through your head.
Yeah.
So do you still wish to go through with it?
I do, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to mark an item to make it a flat roll.
All
And
right, go
my
ahead and
composure is 0.
flat roll.
It gives us a 8, 4, and a 4.
Okay, we'll come back to this. But let's go back to the unseen. Wes, the rain cloud finally bursts, giving sudden but much needed moisture to the parched landscape. A small tribe of humans wake as the rain begins. Their chosen location will naturally protect them from the risk of a flash flood. How do they maximize the benefit of the rainfall?
These people uh have lived here and around this area for centuries. And they understand that these moments are rare, but they happen. And so they have built their homes in such a way that water just washes off and it goes into troughs and it collects into vases and into bowls and things. And you can even see these people, most people would see rain as an annoyance, something to get out of. But we actually see the people waking up and stirring, and they start grabbing these bowls and drinking from the fresh rainwater coming from the sky. It's something, it's a gift. It's not harmful. It has it's not an evil thing. It just is, just like how they just are. And you can see them drinking from it. And you can see a couple of them, a rugged man and a woman, embraced with him from behind her as he's washing her arms and hand, rubbing her neck and everything and through her hair. And she takes into the delight of it because she's being able to experience something so holy with somebody she loves. Um, yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah. Harrington, you got an 11.
mhm.
So that gives you narrative control over the outcome here.
Mhm.
I will let you know that if you marked a mask to bump that up to a 12 plus, as the move intends, you would get an advantage. I think that I'm going to tell you right now that without that advantage, it's not impossible, but I see it. The opportunities for being able to resolve this tonight are getting a little slim, just given the danger and the chaos of what's already been transpiring. It's not an end all be all, but I think I'll let you know right now that like an advantage would severely assist in resolving the in the scenario with a little less danger. But again, That's entirely up to you. I don't want to put my thumb on the scales. I just want to contextualize your decision making since I know you're a little bit lower on masks.
Oh, geez, man, damn, you really are twisting my arm here because I do want to resolve this because I do not want the Ghost Riders to be around for much longer because they have been a pain in my ass. I'm going to mark the darkened threshold.
What is your darkened threshold prompt?
Narrate a scene in which you inflict excessive violence on someone in the name of the law.
Does that happen in this scene right now?
I think, yes, kind of. Potentially I may narrate it again in the future. But
Okay.
however, I think with it, like the startle of like being like saying like I've stripped you of your titles of like this Texas Ranger. Like he like stumbles back just enough to give me an opening. And I take out my gun and I shoot him in the head. And because I have ghost bullets, it does sort of like impact in sort of like an ectoplasm goo, like a spraying of gray mist out of the back of the head, and the ghost dissipates into an ethereal fog.
I forgot you had ghost bullets.
I didn't.
So strangely enough, you killing the ghost is not at all the advantage I had in mind. It's still awesome that worked. I love that. I'm all in. You destroy one of the three, two to go. I think when that happens, Annette obviously like drops to the ground, free from the grasp, and Graves, did you know about those ghost bullets Andrew possessed at all?
Unless Andrew told me, and I don't recall being told. No. You just
watched a mortal man fire, well, ostensibly a mortal man fire a ghost bullet and like headshot one of the returned dead. What is going through your head right now?
that this, I mean, to say this shouldn't happen is putting it lightly. This, I'm suspecting maybe not mortal man, has disrupted the cycle of life and death to a degree that is heinous, because I don't know what the fuck just happened to that ghost. What just happened to that spirit? Did you destroy it? And so after this happens, I don't even look at Annette. No bedside manner whatsoever. Instantly look to Marshal Harrington. What did you just do?
What was necessary? Because
No. Answer the real question. What did you just do?
Cut there. Ruth, you rolled a clue with a complication here. Now I will first step of this is I'm actually gonna let you decide for which you think is more narratively interesting, finding a clue for the blue boy or finding a clue for Clear Springs. Yeah, you're muted.
I think the blue boy, just by like sheer like proximity. I think because Clear Springs is farther than these blue boy shenanigans, the Shields homestead, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think probably something out here that's like, yeah, from the blue boy that kind of like ties, kind of interweaves. Though, fuck it, Clear Springs. Give me a Clear Springs clue. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Let me take it. Let me refresh myself on the Clear Springs clues that we've gotten thus far, just so I don't double up on these. And don't forget that we do have a locked Clear Springs clue that needs to be opened from a previous complication. You know what? There's a photograph on
Mm.
Annette's wall that you spy as you're moving around the house, and it is a photograph of the original Clear Springs citizens standing in front of the old mission. Noticeably, someone's face has been entirely scratched out in the photograph. So you walk through as you're looking, and that catches your eye for a moment because you recognize the mission and you recognize like kind of the background. And you sweat and you look at it and you realize that someone in the photograph has been excised entirely just by being kind of crudely scratched out from the print. Now, why Annette has whatever Annette's connections to the Clear Springs and why it's in her home, you don't know. Before I tell you your complication, just to follow up, this is not a clue, but it's just keeping in the spirit of what you were narrating. Remind me the sort of information you were generally looking for before you stumbled on that clue.
I was trying to see if there was I was looking for the cause, not the effect. So I understand that whatever's happening in the house is like it's the Ghost Riders and everything like that, but the Ghost Riders aren't at their camp. Something's wrong with the net. That means that there's probably a Ghost Rider or two other Ghost Riders planning something. And so I'm essentially trying to find like traces of that because I'm trying to bust out my custom move. I'm trying to set the scene for a custom move here. It
Oh,
seems
are
like
you?
the perfect time. Yeah.
Remind me what your custom move is, just so I can have the scene set.
It's called The Spirit Moves Through Me. When I indulge in my vice alone with the spirits of the dead, roll with sensitivity. On a hit, clear a condition and choose one from the list below. On a 10 plus, you choose two. And then on a 12 plus, I get to take a memento from my lay. I get to ask another hunter what it is and put it into my personal quarters. This one is directly focused. This is I pulled a Dan Aykroyd, Alex, and I put ghost fucking in your game. So because my vice specifically is having sex with sinners, and
Well,
so I made a ghost
my
fucking move.
my complication was gonna be that I was gonna have um to just let you know, the complication that I was originally thinking about for your role here was that Captain Carl Vanderhorn was also going to show up here, but like gun out.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what happens is you're moving through the house and like you open a you're like looking around and then you hear the distinctive cock of a gun. And when you turn on the gloom, you can see the glowing spectral bullet holes and Captain Vanderhorn's eyes as he steps out of the shadows. And his eyes, though terribly focused on the task at hand, have that same muddled air to them. And he just says, "Now I just need you to tell me once and for all why you're hiding that coward. And before I kill you, I need you to tell me where he is."
Why? I'll tell you. I'll help you. But tell me why. I think I know, but I want to hear it from your voice.
You hear the sound of rough leather creaking as his gloved hand tightens around the gun, the finger delicately placed near the trigger. Why? He steps forward. I'll tell you why. Now it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't 100% off the top of my head remember why the Ghost Riders killed, or rather why they wanted Jimmy Pike dead and why he killed them. If I recall, it's because they were doing some abusive fucking shit. But what? Go ahead.
They're corrupt. They were corrupt riders and like
Yeah.
rangers and everything. Jimmy Pike joined specifically to kill them.
Yeah,
because
they're
Jimmy
corrupt
Pike,
as
yeah,
shit.
because Jimmy Pike is a half blood, or not
Yeah,
half blood,
of
but
the Apache.
is mixed
Yeah.
Apache, and so was like, this is the best way for me to get revenge is to do something stupid and enjoy the Texas Rangers so I can kill them from within.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it a lot. And this is what he lays bare, all of the sins. And he, there, you know what the thing is? There's not a single ounce of remorse in his voice.
Mhm.
Like he doesn't frame it from the sense of like, oh, because we were corrupt. The corrupt don't necessarily see their own corruption. But it's clear, lays it all bare, his vile intent, his sinful past. And he's basically just up, like, got the gun pressed up against the front of your shirt over your breastbone. You can feel like the cold of the gunmetal through your
Mhm.
cloth, and he just looks you deep in your eyes, and he's like, "And now that you know, do you absolve me?" He says with a slight like mocking vitriol in his voice.
I know what it is. Now, you say it's revenge because he killed you for the wrongdoings you did. But the thing about sin and action and revenge, it's not as simple as that. You have to go deeper. The Bible tells us to go deeper. And so we look at why you boys acted like you did. Why you conducted yourselves as villains and rakes and devils upon people beneath ye. And it's because, and I'm going to take his leather hand, like his leather glove clad hand with the pistol, and I am going to do something suggestive with it. She's going to run it down her, like, take the gun and run it down the front towards her crotch region. And she's going to say, it's because you're scared. And even though you're a big, scary ghost right now, when Jimmy Pike laid you bare out in that mine, you were a boy, just like the other two boys. And I'm sure it stems from being scared of a woman. So, how about I help you move on, Captain? Can you do that for me? Let's turn you into a man so you can get moving.
We are going to trigger your custom move here because you're a fucking
Mhm.
maniac.
Yes.
Yeah. It will
And
be
I apologize. Please X card if that's
No, that's
too
fine.
much. Yeah, okay, great.
I haven't personally needed X card, so listen, we use our safety tools, but I think we're all is kosher, all is friendly enough for
Perfect.
television.
Just want to do a check-in.
It's not porn, it's HBO. Let's let's get the dice here. And you know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do that I never fucking do and I usually am against? I'm gonna give you advantage from your condition because you're most beloved.
Oh, I am most beloved.
And
Yeah.
I think in a rare circumstance,
I'm
you get
leaning in.
Yeah, I think you gotta get the advantage here from being most beloved. Like that simply is too good to pass up.
Okay, and I'm rolling with sensitivity. It's cocked. Okay.
Well, so is his gun. Hey,
A this is going to be um this is going to be an 8.
an
Damn
8.
it.
So on a
Mhm.
hit, you don't have any conditions to clear, so that's not going to trigger. But you get to choose one from that list
Mhm.
below. You don't draw anyone to attention. You befriend the spirit, and they become a side character. Your infidelity to God allowed the spirit to move on. Bank a mark that can be used on but not forgotten, and your leg gives you a clue. So you can only choose one of those,
Okay.
unless you mark a mask and bumped up to a 10 plus, which will let you get 2 of them. But I know you're running low on masks, Mother Ruth. So
That's the thing is like it's time to play careful and safe and everything
Mhm.
like that. But also Monster Hearts 2, I went to school at Monster Hearts 2 University and they tell us that you need to play the game like you stole a car and you're driving it, you know. And that kind of sticks with me. I'll go ahead and keep it as is. We'll just take one. We'll just take one for now. But I'm gonna allow this spirit to move on, and I'm gonna bank a mark that can be used on but not forgotten.
Okay. Bank a mark. We'll come back to that. But Diamond Dave, you got an 8. With speed, you draw the gun that was hidden behind your back. And your intention was, just to be clear, to shoot this ghost, right? Yeah. The bullets, rip out. Now, unlike Marshal Harrington, you don't possess ghost bullets. You possess normal. Oh, what is that finger for, Daniel? No, you have regular.
Because the item that I used.
Oh, wait. What? Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. What was the item they used?
It's a pistol with somebody's name on it, and I have not revealed the name.
Oh.
And when I do, it will. Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is a special gun.
Yeah, and it seems like Marshal Harrington and Diamond Dave like talked about this before, because I'm also going to mark the darkened threshold and bump it up to 10. It seems
Okay.
like I was going to
say your complication was going to be
Marshall and Diamond Dave like.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to be clear,
to-
your complication from your role was going to be that McDowell gets shot and dies. So yeah,
that the gun on the crudely carved into the wooden handle is in all capital letters is Arkansas.
Oh, yep. I figured it'd be Arkansas's gun. It is a ghost gun, and I guess a ghost gun fires ghost bullets. So ipso facto, you're gonna bump that up. Now you're marking the darkened threshold. What is your darkened threshold prompt?
The chains. The darkened thresholds. I narrate a dream in which I forged the chains of my greed, and then I have to talk about the materials. What happens if I get bound up to them, and then I get to add the chains to my personal quarters.
All right, let's do that during the dawn phase. We can go ahead and mark that now. You bumped up to a 10 plus. So you get the control here. What happens?
We see, as you described, Diamond Dave pulling the pistol out, which is only really visible at night, anyways, and fires it into this ghost deputy, and he just keeps shooting, and he's trying to like aim where there wasn't already holes, and it's making these green, glowing, smoky extra holes that are much brighter than the ones that he has leaking vapors, and he looks over to Alan and he says, I didn't know they could follow us. That's not part of the plan. We may have put our bait into trouble. And so you go to the back. I'm gonna watch the front, and we just hope the rest of the Vigilance Committee is okay out at the Shields place, because we're gonna stay here and guard Jimmy Pike. And that's what he's just giving orders and like keeping the gun pointed at the door.
Now, before we move back to the unseen, okay, let's talk about something real quick, because for chaotic, I did not anticipate the ghost gun for Diamond Dave, nor did I remember the ghost fucking move that Wes had come up with. So when I said, "Oh, resolving this is going to be kind of difficult," I didn't realize I had 2 guns pointed at me that were loaded, completely ready to fire. So I will let you know that the advantage is not as immediately applicable because that I was thinking about giving you. So if you wanted to instead not have marked a mass to be a 12 plus, I'm fine with going back on that, because I realized, no, wait, actually, you guys are you guys had the moves to really fucking blow your ghost load. And so I don't know. I feel like I pushed you into that decision, so I'm giving the opportunity to back out of it and unmark that mask, because egg on my face, really.
I will take it. I will be a little weasel for things, and I love it. I love my compatriots.
Yeah, because everyone really just pulled this one out. Holy shit. Okay. So in that case, let's do our final prompt on the unseen for B. A young girl in the human tribe is experiencing a rainstorm for the first time in her short life. What does she make of the water falling from the sky?
We and all of the human tribe hear her before they see her, and it sounds like a shriek, like a terrified scream. You know how you hear children, and one of the adults whips around and they see it's a shriek of delight. And she's looking up and catching it in her hands, and everybody's catching it in pots and enjoying it and collecting it, and she is playing because this is a new thing. She is giggling, she is splashing other people with it after she has collected it in her hands, and a grandmother does it back. And eventually her cousins come in and do it with her, older cousins, younger cousins, and it's this little group of children in the tribe and elders who are enjoying it in a way that isn't just practical. It's play.
Let's resume that scene between Graves and Marshall. How does this resolve, I guess, or where because this is the last round of scene, so like truly this scene is going to be we gotta cap that between you two, so go ahead and play that out.
All right, I'm waiting.
Lines between life and death are very thin here, and well, I figured I would just use the weapons that these ghost riders used against me, against them.
You just destroyed a spirit. Do you understand what that is? Do you know what that means?
I assumed the plan was to destroy them because they had no real connection to this world that was any sort of reasonable.
Then you send them to the next.
They couldn't find their way to the next.
We lead them there. You don't... Marshall, you are playing with something very dangerous right now.
And like you don't play with this very dangerously. What do you expect to happen? What do you expect that any one of us would do? What do you expect Mother Calvo to do? What do you expect Diamond Dave to do? Do you think any of the rest of the riders will survive till morning? Do you think they will pass on to a nice afterlife? No. But perhaps it was just a mercy, really, because afterwards what they've done would have just been more eternal punishment. It would be just more eternal suffering. This was mercy.
It's really... That's something I actually like about you, Marshall. The fact that you think you know what comes next. You don't. And I don't think you're a man who understands mercy. And I just turn away from you. And make sure Annette's still alive, because I just remembered there's another living human in the room. You're muted, Alex.
She is shaken, but she is alive.
All right. Are we gonna get her out of here? I think I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna
home. She lives here. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna walk right back downstairs. Then she's alive. No, the Ghost Rider's gone. I'm leaving.
Now, Ruth Calvo will attract unwanted attention. I have a feeling that that's not necessarily unwanted for Graves to see, but I don't know what I want to defer to your judgment here for a moment, Wes, because what would qualify as unwanted attention for Ruth Calvo from this? You're muted.
I think for anyone to see Ruth Calvo in flagrante delicto, and right now, like how I imagine it, fucking Mother Calvo is a power top. There's probably a glowing light coming from underneath her as she's helping this poor soul
So-
move on.
Hold on. Actually, let me just say this for a quick second, because please let me know if you do not like this in the narrative, any of you. But when I see the words unwanted attention, you know what comes to mind as someone who has lived in apartments with thin walls?
Yeah. Yeah. Hearing every detail.
Is that that what punctuates the conversation between Graves and Harrington, and in the silence of the night, is the rapt thumping and intense sounds of pleasure making that are coming from the downstairs.
It's also Mother Calvo calling for him to repent and everything, beg for mercy. Like, it's never too late for forgiveness, that kind of thing. Because it's not, I just want to say that if you're watching this now, it's never too late to open up your heart. Like,
the idea of just hearing through the walls, like moaning and thumping, and just the female voice yelling, "Repent, repent!"
I want to say, who wrote this playbook? Who wrote this playbook? Not with this in mind. Daniel wrote this playbook. Daniel set the stage. You allowed me to set up here.
Oh my god. I just okay, you know what? I'm gonna retract what I said about leaving. I think I turned to leave. We hear this, and I look right back at Marshal Harrington, and I'm just gonna take a guess because we've both slept with Mother Ruth. I think this is something we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's instead of being angry at you, I'm like, what the fuck?
Annette looks confused and mortified. I will just let you know, just summarize, that I think part of what makes this unwanted attention is that you have lost Annette's favor. She's probably deeply uncomfortable with you, Ruth. After whatever the fuck just happened here, she learned something about Mother Ruth Calvo tonight, and she's not comfortable with it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get Annette's house as a reward? Just run her out of town.
Venereal disease, more like ethereal disease. Anyway.
God damn it. That's terrible.
Anyway.
Oh my god. Graves is leaving now. Got rid of me.
I think we cut away from that because I think we actually cut to like later, right? Like, because Diamond Dave, as your name is so adequately misspelled on Zoom, Diamond Dave, Diamond Dave, still could be pronounced Diamond technically, so it works. But I think actually like we cut to like later, where it's like the aftermath of this, like, because I think, just to like summarize, like, because obviously this is like the wrap up scene here, but just to provide some context, right? I think like we see Diamond Dave with a man who is Jimmy Pike. Like it's like, and like the two of you are like sat down at the bar, like in the aftermath of like the night's events playing out. And Jimmy Pike he's a gentleman, true to his photo. He's got dark hair. His work clothes are fairly nondescript, though unlike his photograph, he looks like he hasn't been sleeping well for several days. And his hand keeps like occasionally twitching or drumming on a surface, like he's nervous or waiting to draw his gun, but it's slowly beginning to like abate. Because I think in the aftermath of all of this, happening, you've taken the man in question out for a drink. And Jimmy Pike is a little confused. He looks at you and he says, "So that's it then? This committee, you just took care of it?"
No, it's not it. It's a wounded knight. This lasts for weeks. We just gotta hunker down until it's over, or get the heck out of El Paso. That's the kind of advice I give you.
But the three of them,
Mike.
the three of them are gone. They're not gonna come back.
I mean, I trust in the marshal's ability to deal with these spectral spirits as a member of the Vigilance Committee. I'm no stranger. I've been in El Paso for longer since you were born, kid. But listen, you really should get out of here, just in case they're still around.
I couldn't explain it to you. I don't know how or why, but there's been this part of me that just knew they weren't done with me, that they'd come back and find me eventually. And I didn't even know about this business of yours out here. But
Yeah, that was your mistake, killing him around Mount Franklin. That was your problem.
well, I'll be a bit more discerning in my actions then. But
Probably should stop killing people too.
well,
I'm full of advice. My next piece of advice to you, kid, is let's go to the Red Rock Cantina and Dance Hall, where it's a real entertainment establishment. This is really, high stakes card game. Looks like.
I wouldn't mind I, I, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. I guess I've been real shut away these past few weeks.
And I hate that for you because I want your money to be spent on one of the finest establishments here in the town of El Paso before you hit the road, never to be seen again.
Jimmy Pike looks at you kind of sheepishly and says, I don't have any money.
Then why am I talking to you? Alan, let's get out of here.
I think that leaves Jimmy Pike like seated at the bar when you get up and leave, and he just like looks down at the the single shot glass that he was probably bought for him. You can't help but like smirk a little bit, and glance back over his shoulder, and pulls out from his pocket, like an old like a Ranger's badge, and he just like looks at it for a moment, and then like sits on the counter and just kind of like really studies it, and we don't see what he does with it, but he just like sits there on the stool. I think that'll bring our night phase to a close. I was going to say, by the way, Ruth, I want you to take a condition reflective of the unwanted attention, which is, I don't know, what's a good name for this condition to reflect the unwanted? I think Annette's a pretty popular girl. And not that she's a rumor monger or anything, but I think like,
we call it spectral glow.
There's a vibe.
Like
yeah.
When people go, they can tell that you've had sex because you have a glow about you or something like that. People are like, there's a distinct difference in your demeanor. Because
I can't believe I'm gonna just say this because but it's like I want you to take the condition fornicator.
Fornicator, yeah. That's what much like the preacher from Deadwood, who's a known drunk. It's an unspoken but well-known fact that Mother Ruth Calvo gets around.
Yeah. Let's I'll bring our night phase to a close. Let's take a 10-minute break and come back for the dawn. All right, let's go through the dawn phase. You have resolved the Ghost Riders of Sawtooth Ridge, so it's time to dole out rewards. And there are a few options for this. There is a Texas Ranger badge, which can be added to personal quarters. Jimmy Pike becomes a recurring side character. You can get an extra clue on the information move when you consult him on matters related to law enforcement. I have changed this third reward because you never interacted with the character it was about. It was one of the miners. So I haven't said change the reward to be the miners in general from the El Paso Tin Smelting and Mining Company, because of that whole fucking grave scene, can become recurring characters that can be consulted for clues related to underground stuff. So it's like the miners become a source of information. I felt like that played off nicely given the fact that Graves had that whole mining, like saved miners, and then the collapse scene. And then there are 2 mementos. So who wants what? Who's gunning for what?
I'm going to take the thing you just gave me, the miners. Like,
cool.
I would be just remiss to not.
Hell yeah.
I kind of like the idea. I don't know what you're about to say, Chaotic, but I kind of like the idea that Jimmy Pike does not take Diamond Dave's advice and leaves town, but instead like gets a job.
Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking about in the scene where I was just like, but I don't know how to make that shake out in the role play.
Oh no! I have ideas, but however, like I'm just trying debating which is funnier for either Diamond Dave to take, either the Texas Ranger badge or Jimmy Pike.
I think Jimmy Pike, if nobody else
Yeah.
wants him.
Yeah, I think like in terms of like why Jimmy Pike stays around is less about like Diamond Dave specifically, because like this is Daniel picking the reward, but rather Marshall Harrington after the fact convincing Jimmy Pike to stay around.
Oh, yeah, I
because,
like the idea of Deputy Pike.
Yeah, Deputy Pike.
I mean,
Okay.
technically, he is he's
Yeah, law
technically
enforcement.
still a ranger, but I mean, like, kind of like a disgrace ranger because he did disappear after killing the others. So it's like,
Change his name.
yeah, he's Deputy Jimmy Pike now works for
Mhm.
El Paso's sheriff office. All right.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll take a memento.
All right.
I would like the
Mhm.
memento from, I guess, Graves.
I think that when you killed that ranger and he sort of just like something of his got left behind. Something that was in his pockets, maybe. And go ahead, yes.
Does Dave need a hat?
Exactly. I was like, what does Dave need?
I like the image of Dave blowing away a ghost and then a hat just floating down
Yeah!
and landing on the floorboards, and Dave just being like,
And there's like a bullet right here.
I'll take it.
okay. Yeah.
And Mother Ruth, what do you want to take?
I would be remiss to not take that Texas Ranger badge.
And I know
Much
exactly
like,
where you got it from.
yeah. Well, much like, Diamond Dave got a memento and Marshall Harrington got a memento probably from dudes being blown away. I guess Annette got that one that was inside. She's a little freak like that. But yeah, I'll take the Texas Ranger badge.
All right, added to your personal quarters. Incredible.
It's my scarlet letter. I keep it in my Bible.
Incredible. Let's answer Dawn questions. So everyone in the last cycle answered a question and resolved a threat. So you get those two ticked off. Mother Ruth, did you experience an echo in the night?
I did, in fact, experience an echo in the night. With the rain, like the people washing themselves off, and the two people being entwined. Not only does it involve Annette and the one rider that he was holding her and touching her in a way, but it was exact opposites. But also Mother Ruth, Calvo being intertwined with the captain and everything.
Yeah. You already had your other two Dawn questions like marked, I think, at the start of the session. So I think you fulfilled those last time. So yeah, you can just take the slate of 5.
Yep.
Graves, did you experience an echo of the night?
I tried to with the scream
Yep, I caught
thing.
that.
Cool, okay.
I clocked that as an echo. Now it's been a few months, so this is hard to remember the last session, but as it applies, did you punish a wayward soul by sending it back to the spirit realm? You watched a wayward soul.
I'm not counting that.
Yeah,
I had no hand in it.
You had no hand in that. You were gobsmacked by it.
1, 2, 3, not me.
Did you take time to puzzle over the human condition?
I don't think this was anything about the human condition. I think this was about matters of life and death. So I'm not going to say
and
yes
nothing
to
stood
that.
out to me from last session as well. So you can.
I was like, I can't remember. So
you can mark 3, which is still in advance for you, I believe.
Hell yeah.
Diamond Dave, did you experience an echo in the night?
Yeah, the fireflies and the
yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you share your grand vision for the future of El Paso?
I tried to with my Saloon Keepers Association and dividing up everything so that we all get a share.
Okay, I'm into it. Did you get your hands dirty to get the job done right?
I think leaving the cantina, and instead of giving the ghost gun to Alan and say, go guard that guy, Diamond Dave went and did it.
Pulled the shots yourself. Yeah, that's 5 XP, take an advance, and then some. Marshall Harrington, did you experience an echo in the night?
Thematically, yes, because Graves and I had a little bit of a tense standoff, quite literally the rattlesnake and the field mouse, completely 2 different power levels.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Did you deliver a cold monologue about the cruelty of justice?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
About why I did it.
Did you abuse your badge to gain the upper hand?
This is maybe pushing it a little bit, but me trying to like convince like the the Texas Ranger, no, I have the ability to strip the status of Texas Ranger away from the ghost, but
Well, here's the thing, right? Is you used presence on that roll and it
Mm.
resolved by you whipping out a gun and blowing him the fuck apart, which
Yeah.
means you were quite literally abusing your power. You were like putting up a front and then you seize an opportunity to just kill him or re-kill him. So I'd
Yeah.
give it to you. So take 5 and take an
Sweet.
advance.
All right.
And
That's
for those who
exactly.
took advances, do you know what you're taking? All right, what you got, Graves?
Increase in presence. My presence was 0, and I talk a lot of shit.
You talk a lot of shit, Graves.
So I feel like I needed something in there.
Incredible.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chaotic.
I'm increasing my sensitivity to 2.
Nice.
My final ability score increase. All I have left is unmarking everything in my personal quarters. So, yeah.
I'm going with composure because I'm looking at my additional moves. I haven't even thought of a custom move, but I'm looking at my moves. They're not going to help us with the Siege of El Paso, but composure will.
Good to know.
You don't want to be mayor before the town goes to shit.
I read all the options and I was like, that's not gonna. None of those are going to help us. That's you do that at the beginning of Ghost of El Paso. You're like, I'm the mayor.
I'm the mayor. Yeah.
Not at the end. I don't think.
It's a good start of like the art of like it's like a good start of arc move where you're like like just recently because it's like yeah I'm the mayor and you also have probably enemies about.
It's also really funny if it's like mid-season where it's like the town election and then suddenly the bootstrapper becomes the mayor because the marshal would have like opinions about that and be like
the way it was originally written is that the bootstrapper killed the other mayor and like it was written like it was very like sketchy how you become mayor, but now it's just like you're mayor.
Love it. And we have some Janus mask prompts that need to be resolved. I think in almost entirely by Chaotic. Well, we also have one from Diamond Dave, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. The Mask of Revenge. It's really a simple matter. It would destroy this empire I had built, but what am I if not someone who is loyal to those I care about? If you are within my company, you are mine, and nothing will take you away from me, not even death itself. So when my brother was viciously killed, revenge was ordered in short measure. The random Bobby just doing a job? Come now, there is always another option, and you know what you did. I stood over him. He was beaten, bloodied by my associates. And I stood over him as I held the gun and shot him dead.
Diamond Dave, would you care to tell us about this dream of yours?
Yeah, let me make sure I got all my prompts here. So he has this dream. Diamond Dave had this dream where he's like sitting at his desk and he's counting all of his money, stacking it. He's got the paper money, the coins. He's the IOUs. He's counting it all in his dream, and he's holding he's keeping the like silver and gold coins off to the side because that's like the real stuff. And in the dream, he starts to take the gold and fasten it into the coins into these links in this chain. And it's a very wonderful glowing gold chain that it represents his greed. And I think at some level he knows that. But at some point, uh, he looked in a drawer or a box somewhere, and he found this chain that he dreamed about, and he touched it and recoiled, and he knows that if he ever was to put these chains around him, like wrap these chains around him, that he would not be able to breathe. They would just suffocate him, and so he keeps them like off somewheres dark and hidden. But he looks at them from time to time.
Get to add those to your personal quarters. That is fantastic. So let's talk about how things are about to play out. Because all other threats that we have at this moment are going to be on pause. Those timers are going to be frozen because something happens. A stranger rides into town on horseback early one El Paso morning, walking down the main streets, drawing eyes from people, their heavy coat, their wide-brimmed hat, the Texas Ranger badge pinned to their chest that catches the sunlight with a golden glint. You each will see this figure riding out from your own windows or from the streets themselves. Marshal Harrington, you see him in your new Deputy Pike is next to you when he says, with shock, maybe a little anger, "Dear God, that's him. Zechariah's alive." And the Texas Ranger, Zechariah Waitley, rides into town and strides to a point where everyone can hear him. There's something off about this man, something uncomfortable. I think Graves would feel it more than most. As he just says, "Good people of El Paso, as a Texas Ranger, I'm here to order that the following people be turned over into my custody for a lawful hanging. Alma Stackpole, Doc Albers, and Agatha Edwards." Will none of you do this? Will none of you turn them over? Let me make this a bit more clear for you then. If you don't turn them over, I'll come back tonight, and I'll have friends with me, many people, and we are not afraid to tear this town apart to see that justice is done. So I ask you again, good people of El Paso, what choice do you want to make? And there's silence. And Zechariah just smiles and says, "Have it your way." He turns, means to ride out of town. The siege of El Paso is now the only active threat. It will last for this single cycle of the day and night phases, and it will end after this night phase. The only question on the Siege of El Paso is how can we defend the town of El Paso from attack? And it's complexity 8.
Mm-hmm.
El Paso will be ransacked at midnight. Get ready to defend your town. And I think that'll be the end of our session. So let's go to stars and wishes, everyone.
We're so back.
We're so back! Oh my god. Chaotic, did you want to go first?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say that right away.
We are so fucking back! Oh my god, this was astounding. I'm so excited to play with y'all again. Oh man. Alex, what a tight night phase. Boom, boom. It was so good. Perfect pacing. Delicious. I love that you let everybody be really buck wild. It made it really interesting. And I love Zachariah Waitley. That's really good. Just utterly delightful. And you made the complications for the Ghost Riders feel very real. Like, I was like, I don't know. I realized as we like got to where Annette was, I didn't know what the fuck we were going to do about that. And so fabulous job at setting the stakes every single time in this. And like ramping up the pressure. It's fabulous. I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back. Mother Ruth, love your bullshit. Love that you're on your bullshit with that custom move. Oh, God. That, every time you pull out a new thing, it astounds me. That, I hadn't read your custom move. I didn't know you had one, I don't think. And if I did, I sure didn't know what it was. Beautiful. The gun. The moving the gun down, that's peak cinema. Peak cinema. Obsessed. I love. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Marshall Harrington. I love getting to argue with you, Chaotic. It's so fun. That's delightful. You're such a squirrely little dude. And like, it's really fun that he's a squirrely little dude and has a really fun past. That was a fun little mask you had. It's delicious. What a delicious connection to the rest of the world. And also just you being like, oh no, BT dubs, I have ghost bullets. So he's super dead. That was so good. I forgot all y'all had shit. Like, I had no idea what we were gonna do when you all came in clutch. I didn't have to do anything. It was amazing. So good. What a fucking thing to pull out. Being like, oh, I'm gonna talk him down and just kill him with my ghost bullets. No notes. Beautiful. Delightful. Diamond Dave. That was a really cool thing to do with that gun. Speaking of being like, actually, it's a ghost gun because I never revealed whose it was. That's so perfect. And it also feels on brand for Diamond Dave. That felt really in character. And the way you ended it with when Jimmy Pike said he didn't have money and you genuinely went, why am I talking to you? And fucking left and it wasn't a joke. That was delicious. That earned you some of those chains. Like, because I have a problem with loving your characters no matter what, even if they're terrible. Like, because Diamond Dave is not a good man, but I love him. So, like, that was really fun to see. Even if he was still deeply charming while he did it, I was like, delightful bootstrapper bullshit. Love this. Cannot wait for the siege. Holy shit. Holy shit, y'all.
Yeah, everyone was like back on point on like what they could do mechanically speaking and really like threw Alex for a loop because oops, all ghost bullets and ghost fucking. So yeah, it like also just generally like I am very excited about the siege. Whately like is like so fascinating. I'm glad I got Jimmy Pike. And he didn't die because he's going to be really useful because he knows who Whately is, and like I'm just like okay, we got additional clues with that. Well, what else? Who else do we know? Oh man, I don't know what I could do with Dr. Clarkson because he's only good with quieting rituals. He's not good for clue finding. And like 9 times out of 10, we're just not we're just doing dumb shit with ghosts instead of quieting rituals. So yeah. But I love our bullshit. Like everybody's just great. Diamond Dave, very, very charming man, very, very sinister in equal regards. Mother Calvo, I didn't realize that you had the ghost fucking move. I was like, oh, this is like some sort of spiritual thing. And then I took a look at it and I'm like, Vice? Wait a minute. Your Vice is laying with sinners. What did you write, Wes? What did you write? um, Graves, yeah. It was a very fun interplay when we both like as like I like with that complication of like, oh yeah, you draw unwanted attention. I was just waiting for the shoe to drop that we all heard what Mother Calvo did. So I was just like, yeah, this is not. I was trying to keep like a sort of like sense of like I'm straight laced, I'm keeping calm, but like this is not the most egregious thing happening in this scene currently. So like but I also am very proud that I of my echoes, both mechanical ones as well as like uh thematic ones with my mask, of just like, oh yeah, Marshall Harrington will do anything to excuse his own bullshit.
Is that it, chaotic?
Mhm.
I've got for Alex. It was off the recording, but it was really a much needed great recap. It was very helpful for me to get back into it because I couldn't remember. There's so much stuff I couldn't remember, and it was just like Alex had it. He didn't have the ghost bullets, but he had everything else. And also Alex, the Vanderhorn voice. You got to file that one away. That's a good one. I really like your Vanderhorn. And then I really like Jimmy Pike, having a moment at the Golden Spur where he's like, "Well, that's that," uh, and and trying to like process the resolution of this of what's been, the forefront of his life. Um, and now he gets saddled with the marshal. Poor kid. Um, a B, the outrage at ghost bullets. You are playing with something dangerous. Some really good. You don't know what comes next. I think a lot of really cool Graves quotes. And chaotic. Yeah, I felt like you and I had like we've got a plan, but we didn't actually communicate it. It was all done psychically. And I also liked your quote to Graves about the lines between life and death. They're not the same. Here in El Paso, it's a different game. This is what we do. And for West, yes, it's been said 3 other times, 2 other times, but I'll make it three. Your custom move, what a great big star for that one for the ghost fucking custom move. Also liked your spectral glow. You were angling for the after sex spectral glow, but it became fornicator as a condition, and it works.
You know
And
how
I
things go
think
in a
you were
small
like
town.
fornicator, yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And and hey, I also liked your comment about your switchblade crucifix about how that's Mother Ruth's last that's her last bullet. And so sorry for that. I think that's all of them. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, a lot of it is going to be echoing what others have said, but like this, like I did not realize how much I needed this session until I took the dog out and I sat and I had a cigarette while I was watching my dog run around in the ice. It's not snow anymore, it's ice, but he doesn't know the difference. And somebody walked by and they were like, they were like, long night, and I was like, nah, just like. I was just like, I just feel really good and everything like that. And they gave me kind of like a look or something like, and I didn't translate it because I was just kind of like in my head off of the whole session, and so it had like this euphoric feeling, and it just felt great. Because like I've been at the table with these different people here and there with different games. Some I haven't been in a game with since we last played this one. Or like they're like, but like it felt like. I don't know. It just felt like going back to like a place you used to live in and going to a place that you used to eat at all the time and just sitting down and you're like, wow, this town has changed a lot, but like, damn, this chili's still good. Like it's that kind of like, damn, this chili's still good. And so I'm just glad to be back in it. And like I can't wait to see where we take the rest of this story. I can totally absolutely not wait to see where um Alex takes us next because I know that they're cooking up a lot of like cool ideas and I'm like just down with all of them. I'm just like, yeah, let's just keep it going. Let's do it. I don't give a shit. Fuck it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
second all that entirely. Oh, sorry, were you not done?
and I just wanted to say, like, yeah, no, everybody was intense, and they brought an intensity to their different scenes that even though it was just like very different, it was very based on the character and the intensity,
Mhm.
but like there was a lot of like really cool decisions and choices made. And so like I'm just like, yeah, like this is sick. So that's it.
Yeah, everybody fucking brought their A game, and it feels so good to be back. It was I love jumping back right into these characters. Really getting the full ghost load blown in total there was uh carpet ripped out from underneath me. That was awesome. Um Truly loved the little confrontation between Graves and Marshall Harrington. Love this simmering tension that we always get to occasionally circle back to and how things are developing. And one of these days, Graves could just like decide, I'm going to just touch the Marshall with my bare hand and see what happens. That's always like the loaded gun that could be fired. Yeah, real star to the fucking, as was already mentioned, the ghost fucking damn. That description in the lead up to it was peak cinema. Not sure if the recording will show it, but I caught myself unconsciously biting my lip for a second. And I was like, Jesus Christ, we need to stop. This is too much. Someone get the fucking the FEC or whatever, FCC. And yeah, no, it was just fucking awesome. Loved the descriptions as always. I'm glad that we finally got to do the random hobby unseen because I know that's like it is beautiful and y'all fucking came through. Um and yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the siege. I'm my biggest wish is just like, hey, let's not wait 2 months again. So yeah. Are there any other stars or wishes?
I want to star the Rain in the Mojave scene and also how well it contrasted, like tonally, with what we were doing. And
Hmm.
it's just beautifully written, Daniel. It's really beautifully written. And so that was a really fun tonal contrast to see. And just to get to hear how, because I love your unscenes. And so I just want to star this just a little. Since it's been so long, I love this game. I fucking love this game. It's so well written. It's beautiful. I fucking love it. I tell everybody to play it.
Yeah,
Everybody go play Cowboys.
yeah. I just want to do also, yeah, a star for that as well, because I remember before in a previous session we were talking about the unseens, and I remember me and someone else were like gushing about Rain in the Mojave as like, because like that's my favorite unseen from Ghost of El Paso.
It's
The
so
Tumbleweed is a
good.
close second, and then like I like that like there's a bunch of them. The Texas Ranger is another good one that I love a lot. But like a star to Alex for taking note of that because I'm pretty sure you even said
Yes.
in that session you're like, I'll take note of that. And like you certainly took note of that and
Yep.
you found a perfect like night phase for it to,
Perfect.
to slot in perfectly. And it was very beautiful and everybody's
Ugh,
yeah, everybody's prompts were
so
were very
good.
beautiful as well. So yeah. That's all I've got to say about it.
Hell yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Until then, be seeing ya.